screen here from SuperViper. Things with these old N64, if that is what he's playing on. I imagine it is.
Yep, and we are off. SuperViper already ready, and Fullaire following as well.
Dear Mario, please come to the
Behind, but that won't be an issue for anything here.
It's probably just a difference from the stream lag. We'll probably get it synced up in no time.
Looks like both are running on the American version. It is the fastest version of the game for this category of 70 stars.
Both in 16 and 120 star, the Japanese version is actually fast. The differences are, for example, the Peach's letter, it's not read out loud, so that saves a little time. But in 70 star, the text boxes align just perfectly that it turns out that it's faster in the American version. All right, and we have our first trick coming up. Do you want to explain Lakitu skip, Drago?
Sure. Lakitu skip, casually, if you're running through, you'll go through the bridge and get stopped by Lakitu before give you a few text boxes to talk to. However, they both get the trick where if you land just on the very edge of the bridge, you can actually long jump past him, and you could skip that text box entirely. It saves about 10 seconds. Good on both of them for getting that play on.
Yep. And here we see them going for the second trick of the run, bomb clip. Sadly, SuperViper doesn't get it, but Fullaire does manage to get it. They just clipped through the gate. The way they do this is that they throw and re-grab the bomb just as it is exploding, which makes its hitbox larger. And because they are grabbing it, it stops the exploding animation, but the hitbox still is too large, so it starts pushing Mario back. And with that push, they are able to go through the gate and get the star without releasing the chain chomp.
Yeah, absolutely. Builds up just enough momentum to push him right through. What we see now is a bit of a route difference. SuperViper is going for, in Super Mario communities, known as Whomps 9, where he'll get 9 stars before finishing Whomps by getting slide trick first and then going into the stage. Fullaire just opting to go directly into the Whomps Fortress stage. Some advantages for going for Whomps 9. Whomps 9 saves about a second. However, you'll see a lot of runners just go directly for Whomps because it is a very technically demanding and difficult stage that they'd just get that to get out of the way. However, the reset factor in a race does not exist, so
yeah, exactly.
Smart move to go for it.
Some speedrunners who are used to doing attempts rather than races mention it sometimes that you don't usually think about the beginning of the speedrun being as complicated, because during attempts you can just reset and redo it, but during races, if you mess up at the beginning, you just have to keep going. So the start of the game tends to have more weight than they expected.
Oh, absolutely. And especially because the very beginning of this run, there's a lot of difficult tricks, a lot of easy things that can be messed up. We just saw go for one of those difficult tricks called Owlus, where if you can time a wall kick off of the cage at a very precise frame, about 2-frame window, you can actually jump and land into the cage directly.
That is
Owlus.
That is a very complicated trick to perform, and it's the source of many resets, even for very runners.
A little error from SuperViper. Unfortunately, he just missed a jump and fell down that slope again, so that's going to cost him a little bit of time. Too much. And that's what as Ash was explaining before, a lot of runners at that point would probably have just reset. But in a race set, they keep going. Fullaire going for a trick called Cannonless right now. Of interesting, complex moves, inputs. But actually what she is trying to do is fall at the wall at a precise angle so that she grabs the star, and she does, through the wall.
Yeah, this setup was discovered only a few years ago. The whole ledge grab on the corner, then backflip, then etc. etc. And it makes for an extremely consistent setup. It's relatively rare that that doesn't work. Before that happened, runners would just have to kind of run and throw themselves at the wall and cross their fingers and reset a lot.
Yes, absolutely. Cause of a lot of reset buttons being pressed, I'm sure.
We see now Super Viper going for the same trick, and actually in a race a few days ago, I saw another setup for this. It's more of a texture setup. Basically, the runner aligns Mario with a splotch on the bridge that they know where it is, and they just kind of run from there. It's not as reliable because you have to rely on your eyes knowing which pixel you have to be standing on, but it does save 1 or 2 seconds.
Yeah, quick little setup there. Unfortunately, Super Viper did still miss Cannonless even with the sock folder schedule, but he got it on his second attempt there. A little bit different. Super Viper opts to scroll down and click the continue but don't save while Fullaire is just clicking save. Scrolling down and continue but don't save actually does save a few frames of time. However, what risk of is accidentally only scrolling down once as opposed to twice, and hitting the save and quit button, which will take them all the way back to the title screen and all the way castle grounds and only need to waste time running back to where they get to themselves.
If I'm not mistaken, that happened in a race a couple days ago, didn't it?
Oh, I believe, in fact, it happened to the opponent in the race I was in, Steve M.
I see. Yeah. All right. So now we see Fullaire not going for owl, taking the owl and going up to the cage the way it's intended in. It's the intended strat for the game, and she manages to get into the cage. Owless is a very complex trick, so I don't blame her at all for deciding to take the safe route.
Unfortunately. Oh, and Owless, from what I've been told, only saves about 5 seconds if done first time.
Then again, once you reach a certain point, the way that this game is massively optimized at this point. With the movements you have, it's extremely tight movement. People have been fine-tuning everything for ages. So the way once you are at a certain level, like the low 50s, high 40s, the only way to save time is to start doing a lot of small things that save 1 or 2 seconds that slowly push your PB down. There's no huge, complicated strategy that you suddenly learn and get 1 extra minute. It's all small things that save 1 or 2 seconds at multiple points in the run.
Oh, absolutely. I was watching a stream of world record holder Chizo5 not too long ago, in which he exact same thing. The idea of a major strat being found at this point is, any time save 1.5 seconds or half a second to a second long.
And here we see Fullaire not managing to get the slide skip, the jump that allows you to go to the end of the slide. However, since she already got the star that only happens if you clear the slide in under 22 seconds, she should not be worried about that. It still entails a little time loss, but not as much as if she hadn't done that star yet.
Absolutely. Super Viper heading into, for me personally, one of the hardest levels of the run. It's the first Bowser stage, Bowser in the Dark World. The world is very tricky because there's a lot of very precise angles you need to get in order to make a few cycles, and if you miss just by the littlest bit, you can fall all the way down to the bottom of the stage and die.
It is also a very tight stage in that if you are not perfect, basically. For getting red coin number 6 that we can see over there on these floating platforms, you can miss that cycle and have to wait for the floating platforms to rotate again. Depending on the cycle that you get, the community has given them some special names, but it's basically, if you don't manage to be perfect, you have to wait for the platforms to go around again.
And the optimal cycle there is known as Shigeru cycle, named after Japanese speedrunner of the game from a while ago. Unfortunately, I did see Fullaire fell down during the wing cap stage. I'm not jumped off something, or if she just ran out of wing cap time. Cost her a bit, unfortunately.
Now she's going slow and safe, and here we see SuperViper finishing off the first Bowser fight. He did almost miss one of the throws, but it was in the general direction, so he just re-threw, and with that he is going to have access to basement.
They're finishing up her wing cap stage. She'll be heading into Dark World now, and SuperViper will be heading back into the first world, Bomb Battlefield again. The reason he's heading back again is because he's now going to attempt to get a star with the wing cap that was previously unactivated until he completed the wing cap stage and pressed the red switch that was inside of it.
I've actually had that question asked in a stream I was in recently. It was, why does it? Oh no! Here we see there taking a fall to Bowser in the Dark World. As you mentioned, it's a very complicated stage, and any mistake can cause you to fall and go back to the beginning. Thankfully, she was mostly at the beginning of the course, so it does not entail too much of a time loss.
Looked like she just had a bad angle there on her after her jump.
And SuperViper here going into Cool Mountain. If he follows the usual strats, he should be getting 5 stars in this stage to put him at 18.
Possible. We'll have to see what route he goes for here. I've been seeing a lot of top runners or runners at his level opt for a route known as CCM17 during these races. It's more because the CCM 100 coin star, if failed, can lose a lot of time. We'll up it up after we see a penguin star and see which route to take.
Perfect. And I have to say that trick that SuperViper just pulled, sliding down the walls like over the massive chasm to deliver the penguin faster. That is one of my favorite tricks in the whole race, in the whole speed run, because it's absolutely free. You just grab the penguin, you run off the edge, and you just appear next to the mother. It's a
lot easier than the intended way of having to carry the penguin down the entire mountain.
Absolutely. And here we see SuperViper. Well, we see Fullaire finishing off her Bowser fight. Good luck on the throws. And SuperViper has completed the slide star without doing 100 coin with it. So which would be the route that he would have taken if he was doing the CCM 17 that you mentioned. So he will probably be doing CCM 18, which bundles the 100 coin star with the penguin race.
Very interesting to see right here on SM64 if he decides to go for that extra red coin there, and he does not. So pretty, scary moment here. He has to go down this slide and can only be allowed to miss 1 coin, or else he will not have enough to spawn the 100 coin star.
And that's the source of the time loss you mentioned earlier. If you do not have enough coins, the star that the penguin gives you is still inside of the cabin, so you cannot go out and get more coins and then come back for the penguin star. So,
yes, absolutely. be a major time loss because he'd have to go and complete pretty much the entire star again. Luckily for him, he intentionally gets to miss one coin that he did not miss any beforehand. So we're a successful CCM 100 for Super Viper here.
Yep. The reason why speedrunners miss that one coin instead of taking the safety coin is because if instead of taking it as a safety, is because if the last and the second to last one are fine to just reach with one jump, but any coins after that, they have to do backward kicks in order to be able to reach them, and that does lose a little bit of time. So now we see him going to the next stage, Big Boo's Hunt. Only a couple stars here in the traditional 70 star route.
Yeah, he'll only be going for 2 stars. Nothing too technical or too difficult. Fullaire got her first star in CCM. The wall kicks will work strat.
And
The
we
intended ways. Yes, go on.
We just have a question in chat asking their PV by about 10 minutes. Would be Super Viper's PV is 50.34, and Fullaire's PV, which he got yesterday, is 1:14.40.
So about 20 to 25 minutes.
You were saying?
I particularly recall what I was saying, however.
Well,
is anything important, however, though. Going for the second star in BBH, in which he has to fight the Big Boo on top of this house. For me personally,
it doesn't
story
matter.
last time I was commentating, this star to be the hardest when I first did my casual playthrough of the game, because the star spawns in a very, very hard to reach place. Speedrunners, however, they're able to beat the Boo on the way to the hard to reach spot with the star. So it's pretty impressive.
Oh, and here we see Fullaire hitting the wall and unfortunately missing that, falling into the pit and having to redo the star.
One pitfall of the star. It looks very is a tighter than expected window going down the second slope of that mountain. Restart for her.
And she gets it. Yeah, going back to the to what you mentioned about that Big Boo's Hunt star, I actually have no idea how the developers intended you to do that in casually. I don't expect casual players to know about the backwards kicks to get up slopes. So, and here we see Super Viper going for a very complicated trick called pillarless. The reason why it's called that is that if you stand on the 4 pillars of the stage, the top of the pyramid blows up and allows you to reach that star that he just got. However, if you get that bomb and do basically the same trick as the bomb clip that we explained in the beginning, you can be pushed through the top of the pyramid and right into it without needing it to be blown off.
Incredibly difficult trick that even top runners of their game are prone to missing at times. Was able to get it first try.
Alright, so Fullaire going into the slide with more than enough coins, so she should be able to miss at least a few on her way down.
If my coin count is correct, that she'll be looking to try and get 5. Super Viper's second attempt on the bird star here. He failed the first attempt because there are times when if you get a wrong angle while going with the Shy Guy, he can see you and kind of move a little bit closer. You long jump right past him.
And
Scary
Fullaire managing to get just enough coins in order to get that 100 coin.
Just enough. Good.
As you said, exactly 5. And here we are starting LLL, or Lethal Lava Land, one of the stages in which we get the most stars. We're going to get 6 stars in this stage.
The only star that traditionally most routers do not get is the 100 coin star in this stage. Third most behind the opening stage, Womp's Fortress, in which we get all of them. And a lot of runners will get all of the stars in the last stage of the game as well, TikTok Cloud. SuperViper attempted a trick called Lava Boost here, in which he will actually take damage off the lava to boost himself up. He shouldn't be able to get as quickly. He'll do a much easier lava boost to get the second volcano star shortly.
The lava boost is actually one of very often used trick in the game. The other most prominent use of it that I can think of right now is during Bowser in the Fire Sea, where some runners use it to get some of the red coins without having to wait for the cycle of the platform.
Correct, and to make a very quick cycle, which we'll talk about when we get there. Attempting to go fight the Big Boo and finish and get out of BBH into basement.
Perfect, and SuperViper is going to have to be really jumps since he has taken a few too many lava boosts, but that's what we mean. But he manages to get through the bullies and the big bully, so he manages to get that star.
Aptly named because they can very easily bully you and push you around and knock you into the lava. And unfortunately, if you don't have enough health, it can result in a death. Stages where it's very prone to death, since you are intentionally taking damage in a lot of areas.
And now we are going to see Fullaire managing to make her way in, and the next star she gets is the Mips star. Mips is the name of the bunny, and a little tidbit of trivia for those who don't know, Mips is named that way after the processor that is in the N64.
I did not know that. Interesting.
It's multiprocessor without interlocking pipeline stages, or MIPS for short. It's basically the way that it works is that it has a small set of instructions so that it goes fast because it only has to take care of simple instructions. However, it has more instructions to execute. Sorry, I'm a computer engineer and I kind of like talking. But yeah, that's why the rabbit is named that way.
Cool. Alright, Fullaire heading into the first stage of basement. While SuperViper is just finishing up LLL, he'll be moving on to Hazy Maze Cave as the next stage.
HMC is one of a lot of runners' favorite stages because it has a lot of interesting movement. Very reset prone.
There are a lot of interesting skips, mostly provided by the fact that the entire stage has almost no ceilings in front of it. You'll see right now. Yes. SuperViper just attempted a trick called Box Triple Jump. He does a triple jump off of an item box over one of those ceilings that don't exist, like I mentioned before, and down to get into an area to grab a star.
He will actually be performing that trick twice. Actually, no, that's from 170 star. Never mind me. 120 star.
Very rough thing that happens to Fullaire. Happens to me all the time. So instead of doing the very difficult trick of pillarless, the intended strat will get a shell and go around all four pillars on the shell. However, it is very easy for that shell to break, and it did just on the first pillar for her.
And she ends up
in a death eventually. And once again, we see SuperViper abusing the lack of ceilings, triple jump wall kicking over an area to get back down into this cave as quickly as possible. shell breaks again. I wish I knew exactly what causes those shell breaks because they've lost a lot of time for me once, but also I can't quite explain it.
Usually the way that is generally understood is when you hit a wall head on, they usually cause you to break the shell. However, Fullaire taking another death when attempting to get the top of the pyramid star. Unfortunately, that going up the slopes in this game is very complicated.
If you mistime a kick, then Mario can land on his belly and start slipping and sliding all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
For already finishing HMC and heading into Dire Docks. Next stage in our run.
Dire Docks, very lag-ridden stage. Because of the submarine, it takes a lot of processing power to render the submarine, and oh my god! Unfortunately, Fullaire taking another death. Even though her shell didn't break this time, but just at the end, did not manage to get enough speed to get on top of the flat spot on the pyramid.
Very, very unfortunate for her.
Mm-hmm. Here we see SuperViper using another lag. He is in Mario Cam, basically the closest you can, and looking away from the whirlpool in the middle of the screen, because that whirlpool makes the game lag a fair amount.
Yeah, the idea is to have as little on the screen as possible to try and reduce lag and save a few extra seconds here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting camera turns. SuperViper will turn to face just the wall to see as little bit of the sub as possible. I believe third try now of entering into the pyramid.
And she manages to get it. Unfortunately, she was not exactly perfectly aligned, so she ended up falling to the very bottom of the pyramid before the star animation kicked in. We still don't exactly know when exactly that misalignment triggers or not. I
certainly don't. I make that mistake 1 out of maybe 20 times.
Mm-hmm.
For one of the more interesting stars of the run, it's a source of pain for a lot of runners because it seems very easy. However, those manta rings that he just swam through have very interesting hitboxes that sometimes it just will not register. You'll have to swim around and follow through an entire another cycle. But luckily for him, he is able to get the rings very quickly. And moving into one of the more technically difficult parts of the run, Bowser and the Fire Sea and the 8 red coin star here.
Mm-hmm. We just saw Fullaire unfortunately taking a death again to lethal lava land. On the second try, she manages to get the rolling logs star, I do believe it's called. Here Bowser in the Fire Sea, yet another Bowser stage with very tight timing demands. There is an elevator, which is that blue and yellow thing we see at the end of the screen.
Ooh.
And unfortunately, he gets caught under the platforms and is forced to exit the stage just as Fullaire takes a death to the big bully in Lethal Lava Land.
His death there was very rough. He just missed the platform as it was moving around and got caught under it. Mm-hmm. So getting burned consistently. He does get a second attempt to go for what's known in the SM64 community as the lava boost cycle. Pretty much you have to have near perfect movement in the entire beginning of the stage to be off onto the platform to get the most optimal cycle possible on the blue and yellow elevator we mentioned before. Oh, and just misses that red coin too and has to go back for it. Very easy fire C for Super Viper, unfortunately.
And he manages to get onto the second platform of the elevator. He'll just have to wait here until he's high enough to collect that coin and then wall jump in order to skip another portion of the stage. And we see Fullaire finally getting the big bully star. This particular those stairs that form when the star appears are it can be very tricky because they fall under Mario as you walk over them, and it is possible to get caught under those platforms and die as you're walking towards the star, which is not a great position to be in.
No, not in the slightest.
And so Super Viper is coming into Bowser in the fire seat. In terms of throws, the Bowser that spins the fastest. So a lot of people have trouble with throwing him onto the bombs. However, he manages to get it and gets the key, which means that he will be able to go up to upstairs to start with the second.
Unfortunately, getting hecked by the bullies. Oh, was able to get the last one down.
And she manages to get the second big bully, so that's the star for her.
Into the upstairs portion of the run now. Star would be Wet Dry World. An interesting thing about Wet Dry World, you'll see the runners are entering portraits to start their stage. There are certain parts of the portrait that will control where the water level is on the stage. So you'll see Super Viper entered very low, so the water level is right at the very bottom. The water level will be in the middle. All the way at the top will be all the way at the top.
Yep. It is necessary to, if you want to save time, it is certain points depending on the star that you want to go for, depending on the part of the stage that you want to access. And here we see Fullaire unfortunately taking another death after being burned, and Mario basically running off the edge and into lava. As we mentioned, lava boosts are a very risky strat.
Indeed. Viper is currently doing. It's one of the very few stars in the entire run that combines 100 coins with coins, but he's combining it with secrets, so he'll need to find the 5 secrets all throughout the level as he does there, spawning that star, and he'll collect a few more coins to get the 100 coin star here. Probably the most RNG heavy star in the entire 70 star run. As they appear out of boxes and out of enemies, can just fly out in any direction at random, but handles it very well.
The only source of RNG in this, well, one of the very few sources of RNG, the path of the coins whenever they are released from anywhere, from poles that you have to run around, or from boxes, or from enemies. The direction that they go in and how far they go, that's controlled by RNG. So the 100 coin stars tend to be the more RNG heavy of the run. The rest, all of the enemy movement, most of Bowser's movement, etc., that tends to be more deterministic and is more determined by how Mario moves in relation to them, so it's not as RNG heavy.
Going for a very difficult strat. Delayed double jump to triple jump wall kick up. Unfortunately, didn't like his angles, so decided to skip it and go around and up to the top of the platform. This will be the final star that he gets, where he enters the painting in at a very low level. You'll see him enter into the painting at mid-level in order to access the ramp that he needs to get to a little bit earlier, a little bit quicker.
And we see Fullaire finally being done and getting ready for the stars in HMC.
From having watched Fullaire's run before, I assume she's going to go for some little more easier strats in which the elevator that you see her just walk on, if you run underneath it, you through the bottom of the stage and push you into that cave where we were at before. Waiting for the elevator to come down, and there she goes.
And now Super Viper going into
Tiny Huge Island, yes.
something that apparently some runners didn't notice about this stage is that Tiny Huge Island is so called because it's supposed to be the same island, but when Mario goes through a pipe, he appears in the same spot on the opposite island. So if he went into a pipe on the tiny island, he appears on the same spot on the huge island. Some runners don't realize this and tend to think that they just moved to a different spot. And Fullaire attempting this double jump and wall kick to push the button without needing to have activated the green blocks for the Metalhead Mario.
Yes, correct. If you get just enough speed and just enough height to land down on it, you can activate that button without the cap as was intended.
And she manages to get it. There is also a different setup to Star. It was tended to be called a Christmas Miracle. It was basically it went off of a similar similar going over a wall because there is no ceiling, as you mentioned earlier, and it tended to be called Christmas Miracle because people just did not know when it was going to be triggered. They just went for it and crossed their fingers. Ooh, and Super Viper getting caught by the Chakia there, one of the most annoying enemies in the game. However, not thrown down very far, so he manages to go up to the top of the huge island and get his star.
And there she is, and wonderful. Now, he does only have 47 stars here. However, I do believe he is exiting THI. He'll grab a star from talking to this toad before entering Tall Mountain. My best guess is he is going to be getting the TTC 100 coin in order to bring him up all the way to the 70 stars he needs.
Yep, that is probably what he is going to do. The TTC 100 stars, that is about the same. That takes about the same time as a few other stars in the game. So runners decide to route it in rather than doing the earlier stars.
And Super Viper just did a very interesting trick known as mountain clip, where at a certain angle, if you dive while on the edge of the mountain, you will clip behind it where there is water rendered, and swimming into that water will kind of teleport you a bit up the mountain.
And he followed it up by some wall kicks that put him right into a star. Here we see. And this log wall kick always gets me very nervous.
It is quite tricky because there are a lot of invisible walls in and around this log. Neither have run hit an invisible wall yet in their run today. We'll be seeing more of them as we get towards the stage. Well, the stage that Super Viper is currently in, Tall Mountain, and especially in the last stage of the run, Tick-Tock Clock.
Those have the most geometry and objects rendered. So invisible walls are basically a wall that was not programmed in correctly, since the bounds where it is supposed to be. So it's literally an invisible wall. It's Mario just kind of bonks against something and you don't know what just happened.
Alright, Fullaire now heading into Dire Docks, almost out of basement.
This
star
spot
that Super Viper is going for is incredibly laggy as well, because as you said, there's so many things being rendered. The gophers especially can cause it as well. It's a little scary when you're first looking at it and playing the game casually, because the beginning red coins are just on these small mushroom platforms that are quite easy to fall off of, and you will fall down and die if you go all the way, unfortunately. Before, when SuperViperT was... Ooh! I'm going to cut off what I was saying before. SuperViperT just attempting and getting a very difficult trick known as Breezeless, in which at the very peak of your triple jump, if you wall kick and ground pound, you have a small chance of clipping through the stage. Saves few seconds as opposed to going around the mountain and grabbing the star that way.
And here we see him doing the snowman's like some very clean movement to go up to the top of the snowman's head and managing to get it.
Very difficult star. By far the hardest star in the stage Snowman's Land he's currently in. Back to what I was saying before. Fullaire in Dire Docks, a water-based level, the only water-based level in the 70 star run, because 70 star run skips the Jolly Roger Bay stage level. Swimming is very, very intricate, very difficult. You have to time your A presses very carefully in order to swim as optimally as possible.
A lot of runners use audio cues in order to help them with the swimming, exactly based on the noises that Mario makes while swimming when they have to press A. So you will see a lot of runners just kind of putting on headphones just for the swimming stages.
Someone in chat asked if Cheese is commentating. Cheese would know far more than I if he was.
And more than I, that's for sure. Neither of us. Allow me to take this moment to tell you, if you are not following these runners, go ahead and give them a follow. A lot to give you this entertainment and to get better at playing the game. It is amazingly entertaining to watch. So go ahead, give SuperViperT302 and Fullaire a follow.
Fullaire almost just missing the one of the Manta rings, like I had mentioned before.
The style that's...
Yes, go ahead.
The star that SuperViperT just got is the favorite. Very easy. It's literally just dive into the bully, and it's very... I've been told it's very satisfying. And we see SuperViperT going up to make partners have for this area of the castle, because it's so called because it's the tippy top of the castle.
And very, very difficult stages, both Rainbow Ride and TikTok Clock. Lot of any small mistake can result in a death. SuperViperT going for another difficult trick here known as Lakitu Bounce, in which he manipulates the Lakitu over to this plank onto him, and pretty brilliantly executed, is able to get up to this platform instead of having to wait for the entire carpet cycle to go all the way around.
It is indeed a very complicated trick, and it relies on. So you can't always count. And we also see Fullaire going up Bowser in the Fire Sea, managing to get onto the elevator, and she should be up at Bowser in no time.
Alright, a second clean star from SuperViperT known as Tricky Triangles. Rainbow Ride is interesting because the very first trick in most of these stars, I should say, involves doing a triple jump that, if your angle is off slightly, you can miss and just fall down into the openness and die, unfortunately.
Both stars in TP, both stages in TP, I mean, those being are basically floating on chasms. Rainbow Red is obviously in the sky, and TikTok Clock has a massive pit in the middle, and it is extremely easy to fall off the geometry and end up taking a death and having to redo the star again. And here we see Fullaire attempting her Bowser 2. And she unfortunately does not manage to get the first one.
Yeah, and that is a bit difficult. If she can't manage to get directly behind Bowser, okay, she can. This Bowser much faster than the other Bowsers and all the other Bowser stages. So if he starts spinning, it's quite difficult to get around behind him and grab his tail.
Right, and here we are going to see SuperViper go into TikTok Clock to get his last 7 stars. I say last 7 stars even though he only has 62, because the last star of the run you get from the Toad next to the clock. So he's going to get all of the 7 stars in this course, including TikTok Clock 100, and which he is getting right now, getting the 100. Stomp on the Swamp Star.
ETC 100 coin, described by a lot of runners as the most technically difficult star in the game. A lot of very intricate jumps, intricate angles that you need. And doing this star really only saves time if you can do it in about minute 5 seconds to a minute 10 seconds, really. Still, from what I'm told, a very, very fun star when can be done correctly.
Yeah, a lot of speedrunners say that this is actually has such fun movement. As you can see, wall kicking off the thwomp in order to get up to a star without having, and in general, just there's a lot of wall kicks, a lot of tight jumps, but that feel really when you manage to perform them correctly.
Absolutely. And, yep. From SuperViper, who unfortunately did take a fall a little bit. The get a hand star he was trying to do, was able to grab a ledge very quickly and go for a backup star.
That strategy he's using of running back into the clock immediately. For those of you who don't know it, decides whether it moves or not. It all depends on the times that the clock face is showing when you enter it. If it is at o'clock, then the clock all of the parts of the clock will be stopped. And is he doing the?
We're going for a very, very difficult strat. Moving reds in
moving reds. I have actually never seen that done.
I've never seen it done live before. That was pretty amazing. It's at those stars while the platforms are moving. Even the intended way and the way most speedrunners are to go in at 12, as Ash had mentioned, and then wait for the platforms to be frozen and do side flips to get them that way. That was impressive stuff, I must admit.
And he's doing the same strategy to climb up the stage right now. It must be mentioned that even very, very good speedrunners to do some of these stars with the time stopped, deciding to go for TikTok Clock stars with moving platforms entails some slightly different routing around the stage and some very, very tight jumps and movement, and it's definitely not for the faint of heart. Oh my god. Getting a very fast get a hand star right there.
Absolutely. And that'll be the last moving star. We'll see him wait for the hand to go to 12 in order to do a specific triple jump wall kick. The platforms need to be moving or not moving in order for him to get it there.
And we see Fullaire getting her top of the town star, putting her at 44. She's only one going to the next stage. And Super Viper gets his last stage star. He is now going to get his Toad star.
Unfortunately, Fullaire entered the painting just a little bit too high. A quick fix, however, you could swim down to that little lever there, and it'll lower the water level for her.
Yes. And with that, Super Viper has 70 stars. Infinite staircase to not be infinite anymore, and going into the last stage of the run, Bowser in the Sky.
Difficult triple jump coming up for Super Viper, and he nails it. Good for him. For moving right side or left side, there's another triple jump wall kick upcoming, which skips a lot of the platforms coming up right here.
And Fullaire managing to get her last WDW start and moving on to Tiny Human. In the meantime, Super Viper is about to enter Bowser in the Sky, the last Bowser fight. You have to throw Bowser 3 times, just one as in the other stages. And after if you miss and end up throwing him over the edge, he will take out a chunk of the stage with him. After the second time you throw him against the mine, all chunks will disappear, as you can see right now. So it becomes...
For 2, let's see if he can hit this third and last one.
And he does. It is very impressive. All 3 Bowser.
Looks like Super Viper is going to get a low 52 here. A very, very impressive race time, I must say.
And we see Super Viper finishing with an official SRL time of 52.16.
Very mentioned the Bowser throws at the very end, especially if you're on PB pace, can be one of the most heart-racing, nerve-wracking things possible because the window to hit the bomb in is very, very small, very difficult. Just perfectly, and is able to really clutch it out. A very, very strong ending, very strong showing all around from Super Viper here. But yeah, about a minute 45 off of his personal best.
And in the meantime, we see Fullaire still going through her stars in Tiny Huge Island.
No.
Something, and she does not manage to. Something that needs to be mentioned about that particular jump is that it is kind of a shortcut. The intended strat is to go over to where that pipe is, and next to it there is a button, and that button activates some brown box there on which you can walk to the floating island. However, most runners decide to jump over instead. And the complicated thing about that is that if you land on the closer right-hand corner of the platform, you actually get teleported back to next to where the piranha plants are, and you need to basically retry the jump again.
Yeah, very, very difficult star, unfortunately. We'll be getting Super Viper in here any second now for a little interview.
Mhm.
to go on and join the call.
All right, and it looks like he's already. So let's pull him in. Hello, SuperViper. GG, magnificent.
That run was not magnificent. What are you talking about? That run was terrible.
It was a low 52. I have to
was-
say that's nothing to scoff at.
As someone who is not broken,
I'm mad about my
Very
early game and that death on Fire C. Yeah. That death on Fire C really rattled me. And my upstairs wasn't great. I probably would have had a 51 too, but TTC also wasn't great. Some of the backups in TTC and some of those saves though, that was actually surprising to me.
I was incredibly impressed by your TTC moving reds. That was the first time I've ever seen it live.
Absolutely.
Literally, I've done that so many times. Moving red is kind of just if I ever have to do it in a run, I can't do it. In fact, I think I'm better at moving reds than I am at the actual stop time reds, which is kind of hilarious.
Wow, that is, I have to say, rather impressive. What would you say was your highest point of the run?
Remember, I went really well. Aside from the beginning of reds, I think I in my last tourney race went really badly. I died twice in my last tourney race, so I'm really happy that Rainbow Ride went well in this one. Also, the end of my upstairs was really well. My tie in breezeless. Anyone? That breezeless was pretty lit.
That as well. I made sure to comment as that.
Yes.
To say you can't spell breezeless without easy.
Well, if they don't,
if only it was
start
that.
saying now.
I wasn't even planning on going for that, but since my run was so bad, I decided why not.
And you did manage to get it, which is rather impressive, I have to say. All right, so this run was actually
Just cut it out on me. I didn't get to finish. You didn't get to finish.
sorry, could you say that again?
I think we're having some mic issues, unfortunately.
All right. While SuperViper manages to get through his mic issues, we see Fullaire here going through
Wait,
Tall
can you hear me
Mountain.
fine?
Oh, now we hear you again. Yes.
Because someone else was cutting out for me earlier.
I see.
I just made it through that entire run without dropping any frames. I'm very proud of my internet at night.
Oh, that is for people who have wonky internet here. That's a very good thing. I've seen earlier in another run this week, one of the runners, and his computer ended up crashing, and he had to forfeit the run.
Bad.
So, but yeah, well, congratulations on your win. That put 2-0. That is, you are the first person in your group with 2 wins.
I'm the first.
You are the first. M-Chan is at 1-1, and Fullaire is now at 0-3.
Bill, has he done any races yet?
Gombel, he had a he won. However, you are the first person with 2 wins.
I mean, I really don't like to brag about myself, but I'm not really surprised.
All right, yeah, the seating for this tournament has been done really well, it seems.
I think I'm gonna head out. That was a I'm actually also really proud of that Bits. That Bits is a really nice ending to the run. Like, I definitely clutched that out.
Absolutely. Congratulations on your 3 consecutive.
The third? No, my that's the second run in a row where I've gotten perfect throws. Because last night my 120 PB got perfect throws. 120 last night, I got a 147.17. So.
Perfect. Well, in that case, since you're heading out, GG. Thank you for the run, and very much good luck with your race against Chan, if I'm not mistaken.
Am I allowed to go offline now or no?
Yes, go ahead. Your stream was on for the whole time until you.
Okay. I'm just gonna be offline now.
All right, and while we watch Fullaire go through Tall Mountain, let me take this moment to remind you to follow these amazing runners, SuperViper and Fullaire. While we see her getting the next star, let's go over the schedule for speed gaming. On speed gaming 1, you may catch the A Link to the Past daily race. They are doing an open mode race, and at 11 p.m. There is the Mega Man X Any Percent tournament between Tarak HL and Butterfinger 1084. On speed gaming 2, there is the Freedom Planet weekly race starting right after this, and at 11 p.m. you'll have the A Link to the Past daily race. They're going to do a sortless seed. On Speed Gaming 3, we are doing the English restream of a French speedrunning event called Work La Run. If I'm not mistaken, in 5 minutes should be starting the Transistor Any Percent run by Murray. So if you like Transistor, that's a good place to be, Speed Gaming 3. And if you are still looking for more Super Mario 64, on Speed Gaming 4 at 9:30 p.m. You have the tournament race for SM64 between Panther Speedruns and Drago. Are you still there? All right. It seems that there were a few technical issues. So as we face into the next speed run, into the Freedom Planet speed, we'll watch Fullaire start off with her Snowman's Land. My name is Ashe Arya, and I have been commentating with Drago. And good luck, have fun. Oh, there you are.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry, folks. Difficulties is all. But yeah,
all right.
Great run by SuperViper. I had wanted to mention, and I was talking before realizing that no one could hear me. Opted to get an extra star inside of the Tiny Huge Island, the race with the Koopa. There's a lot of very difficult stars in Tippy, especially for new runners. I myself still don't even get the one on top of the ship, because it can be very inconsistent. So she's going for a safer route here.
All right, and a last minute comment that I should make. If you missed any of our matches, any of the matches from the tournaments or from anything that you want to mention, that you want to see, there is a Speed Gaming YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/speedgaming. And all of the matches are uploaded to it about 2 or 3 days after the match. In the meantime, you can just go to the appropriate channel and watch on Twitch and watch the videos. Don't forget that we have 4 Speed Gaming channels: Speed Gaming 1, Speed Gaming 2, Speed Gaming 3, and Speed Gaming 4. And if you go to speedgaming.com, you can speedgaming.org. You can see the schedule for all of the events that we have going.
Right, and Fullaire fairly successfully completing No Man's Head star here.
Only one more star until she moves on to Tippy.
Looking at her time right now, I do not believe this is PB pace, unfortunately for her.
No, her PB is due in 10 minutes. I don't think it's quite possible to get the 12 stars that she's missing and complete Bowser in the Sky.
Having a little trouble with the ice block star. Does look very simple, but you have to time your A press very carefully as you land on the ice. Or else, if you're just a little slow, Mario will slide on his belly all the way back down, and you'll be forced to try again.
And she manages to get it.
Going with what is known as one of the hardest stars in the game, the Bully Star. Ooh. Missed it and clipped through the entire bully itself already.
Alright, unfortunately
Nice
she's
bully,
getting
unfortunately.
hecked by the bully. Let's see if she manages to kick the bully off or if she is going to death. And unfortunately she takes the death and we'll have to retry it.
Yep, tough break. The bully's very aptly named. Very aptly.
That is very true.
Push Mario around like it's nobody's business, man.
Yeah, the most annoying thing with the bullies, and there she does manage to get it on the first, for the first time ever. The most annoying thing with the bullies, and obviously how they were intended to work, is that they create an immense amount of knockback. So Mario gets knocked back just enough for the bully to recover and hit Mario again. So that's how it chains so many knockbacks one after the other. And we see Fullaire going upstairs and, well, not going upstairs, going up to Kippy and starting off her Star Zone Rainbow Ride.
Yes, correct. Right, and if my route prediction was correct, she should only be getting 3 stars here. The boat star entirely. Opting not.
Unfortunately, she takes the death. She had to wait there for a moment because that fire stream, if you don't manage to get there at the right time, the fire stream will basically stop you in your tracks and cause you to fall and take a death. However, that happens as well if as you saw, she ended up bonking against the geometry there.
Looks like she just didn't have quite enough momentum to make that jump across.
There you go. And I have to say, tricky triangles when doing casually star, because the intended route around the triangle is made in just enough time. That button that you press on to flip the triangles has a timer, and that timer is really, really tight. So there's more than once if you're playing casually where you're going to still be trying to get up the triangle, suddenly they'll flip back down and you will be pushed off the stage and be forced to retry.
It's really the game's first introduction to all of its players to a potential speed run.
Yeah.
Tightness of the timer that you had mentioned.
I do believe it's one of the tightest timers in terms of at least casuals that the game offers. I would say that the only other stage that really requires that level of technical skill is TTC. All right, and she manages to get the red coins star, and she is currently 8 coins away from the 70 stars. So she will not be doing TTC 100 coins. She is going to get the swing star right here, and then she will move on to. Then she will get the toad star, and then all of the TikTok clock stars. Well, not all of them except for the 100 coin star, and then proceed to go into Bowser in the Sky. Unfortunately, she does miss her triple jump there, so she will have to retry the star again.
Yeah, very tricky triple jump here. You have to land your third jump right on the top of the fire shooting apparatus there. If you're just a little bit behind, you won't get enough height to make it up onto the platform where the star is.
It's a very complicated jump. Just landing on the apparatus, as you called it, is already complicated enough, and you have to do it on top of you have to do it while jumping platforms that fall, and if you stay on them for she does manage to get it that time, so now she should be going to Toad and then to TikTok Clock. Toad, one of the most technical. Toad, 3 of the most technical.
Hardest stars. Hardest stars, those Toad
absolutely.
stars.
Source of many resets. The only thing that's really complicated with Toad is that sometimes the game decides that it doesn't want you talking to Toad, so instead Mario will punch. Mostly because it's the same button. You use the B button to talk to Toad, so it'll punch until the game decides, okay, now you're close enough to.
It's very true. Toad can take a little bit of abuse there before he finally gives up the star.
Mm-hmm. That happens also in the 120 cannons open, the pink bombs. There's a lot of problems with runs that are almost perfect, but there were 2 punches before the pig Toad deigned to talk to you, so it delays the opening of the cannon.
There with a great save there. Almost over dove past the part of the stage she was trying to land on. But unfortunately,
and we see her doing the wall kicks to the thwomp. An interesting property of the slopes, there are actually 2 ways to go up slopes in this game. One of them is to slide on them, keep pressing A, and then hit the B button over and over. That allows Mario to kick constantly, and that gets you up the slope on most of the slopes. The only other thing that you are allowed to do on a slope is a triple jump. So the way that works is that if you jump on a slope, or if you try running, however, if you do 1-2 jumps and then your triple jump you do it on the slope, the game will allow you to perform that triple jump rather than making it into a 1-2-1-2 jump. If you did not come in with the 2 jumps already done beforehand.
Oh, unfortunate fall down death for Fullaire there. As you mentioned, TTC is just a gigantic pit in the middle of it, and if you miss a jump by just the littlest bit, you will fall down into that pit and die, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. There are actually quite a few stages that the game is basically divided in. The game stages can be categorized into are kind of in let's say, closed space, and the ones that are floating in the middle of the nothingness. For example, Whomp's Fortress, the Wing Up stage, all of the Bowser stages. Let's see, what else? Tiny Huge Island as well, and Rainbow Ride and TikTok Clock are all basically floating around on top of huge chasms. All of the other ones will allow you to basically have walls around the edges of the stage so that you cannot possibly fall off, glitches notwithstanding.
Correct.
So the
Stages find ways to kill you in other ways.
yeah, so those stages that are on top of the, like in the middle of the ones that require the tighter movement, since many times a small error results falling off, taking a death, and having to do it all over again. In fact, some of the stages actually are more punishing than that. If you fall off, what is it called again? It is the stage in which you use the wing cap to get 8 stars, 8 coins.
The cloud stage.
Exactly. I think it's called Wing Cup over the cloud, or Wing Mario over the clouds. That one is actually a lot more punishing in that if you fall off, instead of spitting you out right at the entrance, it will spit you out outside the castle, and you will fall onto the lake. So you will have to go all the way back up to the top of the castle in order to retry.
Absolutely, just a huge time loss there. Fortunately for most runners of this game, that's only a star you need to do if you are doing the 120 star category, the 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So star total now at 67.
Perfect. Only 3 more stars to go before to go up to Bowser in the sky.
And I wonder if she'll go and try and tackle that one now. And yes, she does. The red coins are supposed to be done normal speedrun and casually, as opposed to the moving reds that we saw Super Viper do just not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Simple star, but can be very difficult. Easily to bonk off or to just miss your jump and fall all the way down. Unfortunately, like Fullaire has just now. Jumps very small windows to move Mario through.
Mm-hmm. And we see her narrow the star. That is
It's hard to
actually the
judge
only
where
red
that's.
coin. It's hard to judge where that star is going to. Immediately on top of the blue star that signals where red coin stars appear. In the whole game, usually red coin stars are just hovering right on top of that horizontal blue star that you can see there. On TikTok Clock, however, that is not the case. It appears right where you collect the intended eighth red coin. So as you can see, it is a little tricky to go back up to get it.
Yeah, and the visual cue of the background doesn't really help quite much. There's a little difficult there to see exactly what angle the star is. But jump behind it a whole lot of space.
All right, so we have unfortunately run out of for this stream. I encourage you to go ahead, go there streaming right now, and she will be finishing the run. In the meantime, here on Speed Gaming 2, the Freedom Planet, any percent run is starting. They are having a weekly race in which they are showcasing different characters for the game in order to raise awareness of the game. So that is going to start right now on Speed Gaming 2, and at 11 p.m. You have the Link to the Past daily sortless randomizer seed. If you want more Super Mario,
I am seeing from an admin. I'm sorry, Ash. I am seeing from an admin that we can wait for this rate to.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, there we see the invisible. Unfortunately, as we mentioned, the invisible walls. TikTok clock is one of the walls in which there are the most. It's one of the stages, sorry, in which there are the most invisible. Hit it once is right here on this staircase.
There's one right around all of the shapes where right at the very beginning you can bonk it and die as soon as you enter the stage, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And while we wait, Fullaire going up the stage, let me remind you with a very, very quick time of a low 52, and Fullaire is still trudging on. So I encourage you to give them. It is they work really, really hard to give everyone just an amazing piece of entertainment. I know I've spent many hours watching speed gaming streams, regardless of the game. So yeah, go give them a follow, and go ahead and the speed gaming channels as well. Twitch.tv/speedgaming, and then Speed Gaming 2, Speed Gaming 3, and Speed Gaming 4. 4 channels. There's a lot of people who think there are only 3, and we have a bit of everything. We have Link to the Past races tournament going on. There are we are doing the English restream of the French speedrunning event Bourg la Run. If you like if you like speedrunning, Speed Gaming in December is doing a lot of showcases, lesser known games, bits and pieces of all the community has to offer. So I encourage you to give us a follow and get in on the speedrunning goodness.
And Fullaire going through the final stage, Bowser in the Sky, very, very well so far. Very well played.
Yep. As we mentioned, Bowser in the Sky is a very complicated stage. There are ways to skip significant portions of the stage, such as that very long jump we saw off of the vertical. I don't really know what to call it. Vertical floor. It's very interesting how this is programmed. The floor just kind of lets you run up the wall without falling off. And we see her getting up here to Bowser. Let's see how she does with the Bowser throbs. You were mentioning something, Trigo?
I was just agreeing with you. I would not know what to call those either. Fullaire nailed the throw. She does.
All right, and the second throw, not
very good at Bowser the edge because the bomb is now incredibly close, so she can just give a nice little light tap.
But unfortunately, she kind of overshoots, and here we see that.
As I was mentioning before, at the end of SuperViper's run, the frames, the window to hit these bombs are very, very difficult. It's tremendous, especially with all the pressure at the end of a run.
Yeah. Even the top speedrunners end up not being able to get PVs or to get even world records because they failed throws. You get a lot of comments of I failed it in throw. It's truly very, very complicated to get Bowser to behave.
Yeah, quite so. World record holder Cheezo5, when he was going for the fabled 1 hour 39 minutes, had at two PBs that I know of. That unfortunately the 139 was lost to Bowser throws, sadly.
And
Very,
she managed to
very
get a second
difficult
Bowser throw, and she very narrowly misses the third one.
Third one by
The
the
mine hitboxes on the Bowser fights are very, very inconsistent. On Bowser in the Dark World, the first Bowser stage, they tend to be rather lenient. You just kind of throw it in the general direction and it hits. And on this one, you have to be very, very precise. However, she does manage to get the last Bowser throw.
A finished run looks like it will be a high 1 hour 25 minutes.
That was so bad.
Fullaire.
And we have Fullaire
Congratulations on
here
your
for
finish one, Fullaire.
an interview. GG Fullaire, you've finished with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 3 seconds. How are you, Fullaire?
Angry, hungry. I'm gonna go study for finals because that was just depressing.
And you expect studying for finals to get you out?
I mean, at least I know I can, not drop my grades as hard as I dropped this run.
Wow. I have to say, you had some very, very impressive in some sections of the run.
Yeah, I really wanted a death counter at some point. I was just like, how many times have I died?
What would you say was your high point?
Womps, and then it went all downhill from there.
Oh my god, Fullaire.
I am not even kidding. Like, I've had a gold split on Womps and then just died all the time.
Well, we can't all PB twice in a row in SRL.
Got it.
Yeah.
We can't all PB in an SRL race at all.
Oh, well, no, I'll get
Very true.
Yeah, I PB'd last night. Didn't really expect much from today.
Nice.
I'm just reading chat to see how many mean people are. Just looking for it.
So now we need to move on.
Yep.
taking a list of all the hate.
Get up there.
I will. I'll be taking names, coming after people.
Yep. Coming in with a tactical strike. All right. Well, amazing race. Congratulations, GG. And anything else you want to add to finish off?
Nope. That's about it.
All right. Good luck with finals then.
Hey, bye.
Finals. Go dry your feet.
Oh yeah, it's snowing in Georgia. That's ridiculously crazy.
All right. Watch out for the ice physics.
I hate ice. I slipped and fell walking home from work today, and I was not happy. And I also wore Converse, and it was a bad idea. So. All right, that's it.
All right. Well.
All right.
GG. Thanks for the run.
Thank you very
Thanks
much
for
for the interview. Good run. Great race. Take care.
Bye.
All right. And now here on Speed Gaming 2, we are going to any percent weekly race. Remember to follow the runners, and remember that we have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/speedgaming. 2 or 3 days after they happen, and in the meantime, you can see them on the videos here on the Speed Gaming channel. With that, my name is Ashay Arya.
I'm Drago. Thank you for following and listening along, guys.
All right. Good luck. Have fun.